All right, it's April 13th. It's been unreasonably cold tonight. Rain this morning, rain yesterday. Ain't gonna be getting in the field anytime soon, so I've been working on the 350. I pulled the grill out and the bumper off of it, and I drained the radiator out. I don't know, it's too cold to be working out here. It's only 43 degrees or so. So yesterday I was working in the shop some. I was painting parts just because didn't want to work outside. This is the those are the springs off the 450 we built the trailer out of. The spring hangers. These are the caliper brackets and the outer joints for the axle, and this is the axle I got out of the junkyard. This has got 355 gears in it. This is going to be the axle I'm going to put in the 88 truck. I'm going to pull the gears out of that rear end because that's a 10 1/4 inch rear end, just the same as that one. So those gears should fit in the dually rear end. The width here isn't right. You can't put duals on this axle unless you use spacers. So I didn't want to do that. So the tubes are longer, I think. And from the spring bracket to the inside of the drum or something different. I think the drums are different too, because you can't put a dually rim on them wheels. I've already tried that. So we're going to put the gears out of this one in that rear end. The dually rear end's got 410s in them, and these are 355, both of these. There's a transmission out of the 450. I can't decide what I want to do with that PTO unit, but I got somebody that wants it. Possibly I might make them a good deal on it. Got all my brackets, the shock brackets front top the springs. I have done this before. I think the springs of my red truck, my 86, are heavy duty springs because I bought them new at a place in town here that has sold springs, and that's what they were, supposedly heavy duty springs. I don't know. They're arched. Usually a Ford spring's pretty well flat. That's a whole bunch of different other problems, but got shock brackets. There's another shock bracket on the other side. I painted them glossy black just to show everybody off, or show it off. But I pulled the cover off. I need to change. There's seals in here and here, and I want to change the pinion seals. So hold on, I'll bring you back. All right, I got everything marked here so that these caps go back on where they come off. We're going to set these over here. I do have the dually spindles and hubs for that axle. This truck was a single rear wheel truck, and the dually hubs were on my 86. So I had them. I've had them sitting around here for about 4 or 5 years. So anyhow, that's coming out. I'm probably going to need both hands. Yeah, I'm going to need a pry bar. So that carrier's heavy. Now this is what they call an open differential. There's no locker in that or anything, so at least I don't think so. I don't know. Some kind of plate in there, but I think it's just a thrust plate. So, all right, I'll bring it back. I'll get that out of there. All right, I got it out of there. Let me tell you what, it was shimmed in there pretty tight. I don't like that. I don't know if those are original seals or somebody's changed them, but they got a whole lot of silicone around them. Can't see that one, but. And the bearings don't look bad. You got a little bit of wear there, but they're nice and smooth, so I'm not going to worry about them. Kind of gritty. I washed this out. I washed everything out so it was clean, but before it goes back together, it needs to be washed down with some brake clean. So anyhow, that's the idea. We're going to dig these seals out of here and replace them. Maybe. Yeah, gonna take more than that. Yeah, I thought I could pry that out. But anyhow, we're going to pull the pinion out too, because I want to change the pinion seal. It does leak. So, and yeah, I've already washed this out, so it's in pretty decent shape for clean. I cleaned the outside of it up. That's why I was able to paint it. So, all right, I'll bring you back. Alright, I got them seals out, but there was a crap ton of rust that was inside the seal tubes, or inside these axle tubes, and now I've got it all inside here, so I'm gonna have to hose this thing out too. So I might as well get the pinion out and clean this thing all down again. That hole there's for the breather. And no, this is the front axle. The rear axle has the pickup for the speedometer. So let me get this cleaned out of here. It appears that silicone was in there. That seals the tubes into the casting. They put silicone around there, and when they pushed the tubes into the casting and they plug welded it. This isn't one, but there's one here and one up here. Yeah, the silicone was there to seal the housings up anyhow. So I've already got the pinion nut loose, so let me knock that pinion out of there and get this thing cleaned up again. We've got a new pinion seal, so it's got to come apart anyhow. Alright, the pinion nut was loose, so all I had to do is spin that off, knock it back down out of there. And you can see that seal's bad. It seal's all rusty. That's the front pinion bearing. That's the rear pinion bearing, and they're a real nice shape. And it's got rust in there from that axle. But that's the pinion and the carrier, the yoke, and the two caps that are numbered. So, alright, let me dig this seal out of here. Now that I have a new one. Never as easy as they say it is. As rusty as that thing is, it'll collapse. Alright, well, I'm gonna have to beat on that one too. Alright, I'll bring you back. Alright, it takes some working, but yeah, that's the way it happens. Oh well. That's the way it goes. There's the front pinion bearing. Those bearings are in nice shape. Usually the front axles bearings don't go too bad. They just go around for the ride a lot of the time. But there is shims here. That's the other pinion bearing, and it needs cleaned up now. Now we can clean this housing out. Let me tell you, that's heavy. I wonder what happened to that tin shield. Looks like it had a crash. Now, either way, that's all that's in there. Need to clean that, hose that down, and blow it out. Clean the bearings up. This one does not have. Yeah, this is dirty anyhow. This goes on here. This axle does not have a crush sleeve. It's shimmed to the right preload on these bearings, so we will not have to get a new crush sleeve. That's where that crush sleeve went in the Ford 10 1/4 rear end. We had to shim that, or I bought that spacer to go in there instead of the crush sleeve. So, and so far, knock on wood, that hasn't given me any problems. So anyhow, differential's all apart. Let me get it cleaned up and get her back together. So I'll bring you back. All right, let's see if we can do this without destroying the paint that we already got on it. I already washed this housing out with solvent, so I'm pretty happy with how clean it is. Just want to get everything get all that rust out of there from them axle tubes. Yeah, good bit of crap come out of there, so let me roll it over and see what we got. Messed up my paint. Alright, I'll bring you back. Alright, I got it turned. It's upside down now. It's not a Chevy front axle. It's still a Ford, but I got it turned upside down. The pinion shaft is in there. Next thing is the shims, and then this front pinion bearing. Yeah, I'm sure that's probably gonna have to be tapped in there. So shims first. That sets the preload on the bearings, and then the yoke goes in. Of course, I have to put the seal back in it too. So let me get it set up here. Probably should put some grease on them. Let me put them on the pinion with some grease, and then I'll put the bearing in. Okay, I got everything in there. I got the pinion shaft, the shims, the bearing, the yoke. There's another shim in there between the yoke and the upper bearing. And I just have this kind of pre-assembled here. There's no play in it. I did not torque it. And I did not put the seal in, because I'll put the seal in once I get the carrier down on top of it. Now I need to turn it down, put the seals in the axles, and drop the carrier back in. Once the carrier's in, I take this apart, just pop the seal in there, and then retorque the pinion nut. And it'll be easier to hold it because I'll have the carrier in there with the gears on it. Otherwise, I can fight this. So, all right, I'll bring you back once I get the seals in the axle shafts. So, I can show you them while we're here. I got all Napa parts. This is what the seal looks like. This little horn on here starts the axle. When you stick the axle down through the tube, it starts the axle up in through the seal, so it doesn't rip the lip off. So that's what that's for. So, and there's the part number from Napa. So, all right, I'll bring it back. All right. I coated the outside of that seal, since it's metal to metal, with aviation Permatex. You couldn't tell that because the outside of the jar's got a rag stuck to it. But anyhow, I'm gonna knock it in there with my Harbor Freight's bearing driver thing. We'll set this down in here just like that. And I'm gonna get a hammer and tap that in there just like that. So I'll bring it back. All right, both seals are in. Both springs are on the seals. Make sure this one is. Yep, springs on there. Both seals are in. Got a couple little specks of dirt in there, gotta get out. I'm gonna drop the carrier in there and torque it down. So, alright, I'll bring it back. Alright, I got the carrier in, and I got the cap bolts torqued to 85 foot-pounds. I'll show you that here in a second. But now I got to put this pinion shaft seal in. And there again, you always put the... There, focus on that. You put the spring or the lip seal towards the oil or towards whatever you're sealing. I'll have to tap that in. And then reinsert my yoke, and it needs to be torqued to 250 foot-pounds, and I only have that one here. I'll have to bring my big torque wrench from work to torque that, but we can get her tight. Yeah, and then I'm going to have to repaint my messed up job here. It's alright, I've missed a few spots here and there anyhow, so let me get that in, get the yoke back in. My shim's down in there. And the only thing left is the pinion, or the yoke and the pinion nut, and there's a washer in there too. So alright, that's probably enough for tonight. I get this all back together, and I'm gonna lay the cover back on it, but I gotta either get some sealant or do something different there, because I don't have a gasket for it. So alright, thanks for watching. Alright, there it is. Pinion seals in. I put some gear oil on the bearings. These 4 bolts here are all torqued, and they're back in their original positions because they were marked. Pretty smooth. Was pretty tight till I put some oil on it. Now it's really smooth, so I think we're good. Got new seals in out here. Next one we're probably gonna put the ball joints on, and I'll have to get this cover sealed up too, but for right now we're probably going to, next thing will be put the ball joints in. So thanks for watching.